4 points from 2 home games. You must be pretty pleased.
Yeah, happy. Yeah, very good. 2 contrasting games really. The Saturday game against Aveley, I watched it back Sunday morning, and lots of our play was actually very, very good. Lots of our play in wide areas was excellent, and the amount of entries we had into the box was really, really high. But unfortunately we didn't get on the end of any of those, and made a silly foul and got punished for that with a very good strike from the lad for Aveley, which I think was their only shot on target, I think. But so it felt a little bit of a disappointing result really Saturday, but it was we used the word frustrating. It was a frustrating afternoon, and I think there was things that we didn't do great against Aveley that I felt that we did do great against Chippenham. So me and Mikey had a chat about it and things to improve on. And then the Tuesday night game, first off, the crowd to get into the 3,000s on Tuesday night was amazing. And we asked for a fast start and we got it. So it's contrasting games really, tempo wise. But I thought lots of our play in both games was good. And as always with me, there's areas for us to improve on. Of course there is, and there never will not be. So yeah, it was 4 points from 2 games is good.
I think probably one of the most impressive things is that you've obviously been saying how it's work in progress, things to work on, good in some parts, not so good in others, but it does seem like the players are really picking up on that. So you said, for instance, on Saturday that there wasn't so much of a finishing touch, even though there's a lot of entries into the final third. Well, they certainly put that right on Tuesday night, didn't they? Yeah,
definitely. I just thought we were much more front-footed. I think we started the game quickly, and on Saturday I thought we started the game slowly. So I think if you start a game slowly, and I think it's up to us to set the tempo of a game, especially at home, and if you start it slowly, I think it allows the opposition to settle into the game a little bit. On Tuesday you could see it was evident that we didn't allow them to do that. Now I'm not going to say it's going to be like that every week, but there was a definite difference in the first 15 minutes of both games. And as you said, we just got a lot more bodies in the box. But also I was a bit harsh on our forward players on Saturday. So sometimes it drops just, sometimes it doesn't. I think we put some unbelievable balls in Saturday. Weren't quite on the end of them. But on Tuesday night we was on the end of. We scored off 3 crosses, so it was pleasing. It was really pleasing.
I know it's only early days, but goals seem to be coming from all areas of the field, from your front line, the midfields, and also in defence. That must be nice that you're not just relying on one source. Yeah, it's important. I mean, it's a boring answer, but it doesn't really matter who scores. It's going to sound strange as well. I judge my centre forwards not just on goals. They've got to bring much more to my teams than that. If a centre forward goes a few games without scoring, it doesn't worry me. As long as we're contributing elsewhere, it's not a be all and end all for me for a centre forward to be scoring. Obviously we want them to be, but as long as we're scoring goals from all over, I think that's a good habit to be into. Yeah. As a former defender by trade, I expect you were just as happy with the clean sheet, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I bang on a lot about clean sheets. I think they're very, very important in football. I think people go away from the importance of a clean sheet. I think it's being an ex-defensive player. I took as much pride in the clean sheet as a centre forward did in scoring a goal. So it's something that would again drip feeding into them. And you see it quite a lot, don't you? If you're 3-0 up at half time, it's many times the game ends up 3-1. And it's standards. It's just standards. That's all it is. It was a good night for us. It went well. Hammy's had nothing to do really. Under no illusions on another night. He might have a lot to do. We're nowhere near perfect, but it was to get a clean sheet was lovely. Yeah.
So we've had back-to-back home games. Now it's going to be back-to-back away games, although they're both going to be on Saturday. If we look at the game against Welling, how are things looking on the injury front?
So, Jordan Dyer we spoke about last week. Jordan's going to be out for. We won't see him in September. So he is improving, but it's not a hamstring strain. It's a tear. So he's going to be at least 5-6 weeks. So Jordan's out for a while. Jay Falston is I would say at best 50-50 at best. Other than that, Finn Krask is training today. He had a minuscule issue on Tuesday night that wasn't worth the risk, and I don't think Jay's is much worse. But we've got a good squad, we've got good players to come in, and there's good competition for places. So in the first week of September, I don't see the point in risking players like that. And as we speak about every week, the squad is strong. So it's you take Jay Fulson off and you put Dean Moxey on, so it's all good.
You now know who your FA Cup opponents are going to be in Bishop's Cleeve, but I imagine that your sole focus is going to be on Welling this weekend for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Welling's a tough place to go. Really, really tough place. It's got a little bit of a Chesham feel about it. The pitch is very similar. It's got that slope. Welling like to attack down the slope. They've got good players. They've got pace. They've got power. Rod Stringer's teams are tough to play against, and it's a tough place to go and play. Simple as that. The crowd get behind them up there. I'm sure we'll have good numbers with it being a London game as well, and the away fans travelling. So it's a game we're looking forward to, but under no illusions that it's going to be a tough afternoon.
Another 3,000 plus crowd on Tuesday. How have the younger lads reacted to playing in front of those sort of crowds on a regular basis?
Well, I think they've taken to it. I think it's number one, they're appreciative of it. Absolutely. I don't see how you can't enjoy it. They've been nothing but supportive. The fans, terrific. It sits with me. We went 1-0 down against Enfield after 4 or 5 minutes, which was not in the script at all. As soon as the goal went in, Torquay fans started cheering and singing. So, I've been at other clubs where that definitely wouldn't have happened. So that was great. And the young lads, I think they flourished under it. It is one of those sink or swim scenarios. I think you either get energised by it and motivated and thrive on it, or you hide away. And so far so good. The players have been great.
Now, obviously you weren't here last season, but it was a very difficult sort of atmosphere, all sorts of little factions and that sort of thing. How great is it for you as the manager that everybody now is very much pulling in the same direction?
Well, it's imperative. It's very, very important, from the top of the club right down to the bottom of the club. Everyone feels like there's a tremendous togetherness at the moment. I can't speak about last year, and I won't, because it was nothing to do with me. But what I will say, we've had a good start, and that there will be times when we don't win, and it's just about sticking together. And I think as long as everyone can see we've got a common goal and and that unity, I think you're stronger together, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? And football's not a game for individuals, so you've got to be a team, and that team isn't just the 11 players. That team's Torquay United Football Club, whether you're a fan, the chairman, a director, a ball boy, whatever it is. It's Torquay United's got to be together to get where they want to get to.
You talked about the injury situation. Omar Musa, is he 100% match fit?
Do you mean clinically, or? Yeah, he's clinically match fit, else he wouldn't be on the bench.
Okay. But do you feel there's more to come from Omar? Have we not seen the best of him yet?
I think there's more to come from every player in my squad. And
how'd you go about, when you're a manager of a 6th-tier team, that's obviously a different job to if you're a 3rd-tier team. How'd you go about just getting the best out of every individual player? What's the differences, you think?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is any differences. I think football's football for me. Whether you're managing Real Madrid or Crown and Anchor on a Sunday, football's football. It's you have to find a way to get the best out of every individual player you've got. Now, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not, but I've been around football a long, long time, and some players I'll scream and shout at, and I'll make no apologies for that. Some players will get away with a little bit more and have a little cuddle. So that's up to me as that bit of man management that needs to come in. I'm still getting to know the players. I'm starting to get to know them much better, which happens because we spend an awful lot of time together. In answer to your question, I'm not really sure. It's just sometimes I go in my gut. Sometimes I see something that other people don't see. I mean, I observe them an awful lot. When they're doing warm-ups and stuff, I might be chatting to someone, but I'm always looking, always watching. So I just think football's football. Honestly, I think it's getting the best out of a player as part of your job as a manager.
Because he's a real talent, isn't he, at this level,
Omar? Unbelievable talent, yeah. Fantastic talent.
Thank you.
You talked just now about things that they didn't get right on Saturday that they did get right on Tuesday. Apart from the goals, what kind of things did you have in mind?
I just felt we played with much more tempo. I thought we was much more front-footed. We started the game a little bit more direct as well. I think that's the main things, really. I just, Saturday's game felt frustrating. It was slow. I'll give Aveley credit that they defended very, very well. But on reflection, I think I was a little bit harsh on my players on Saturday in the interview. I think drawing 1-1 at home, it was quite evident. Those people felt quite disappointed by the result. Still a point. I mean, I hate saying things like this. If we'd drawn at Chesham and beat Aveley, you've got the same points, but the feeling would have felt much different. I thought we played very, very well for large periods of the Aveley game. Really did. We ripped them to shreds in wide areas at times. And like I said, we had more entries in the box against Aveley than we did against Chippenham, interestingly. So, but you draw 1-1 and you win the other one 3-0. So, what we're seeing is things on the training ground we work on. I saw on the Saturday against Aveley, so it's much better.
And on Tuesday night, when you kill a game off to all intents and purposes so early, 25 minutes, and the game is pretty much done, how do you manage to keep the players focused and concentrated for the rest of the game when, to be honest, they're controlling it so completely?
You just shout at them. Really loud. No, it's a mentality, isn't it? It's that horrible half-time team talk. Don't let them score. Don't let them score the next goal. Because if you go out in the first 5 minutes and Chippenham score, then you're like, oh, here we go. You can't help but feel that. I think it's being professional, seeing the game out. I thought we played differently second half because Chippenham changed their shape. So being 3-0 up, we didn't have to go and force the issue. We didn't have to. Having said that, we could have added 2 or 3 more goals. So it's one of those things. It's bit of game management. We've still got some players who are young and still sprinting to take a throw in when you're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go. But there's only one way they'll learn, and that's playing games of football. And we've all been there as young lads, and you make not mistakes, but game management is an art to it.
It's great that those young players want the ball all the time, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they ain't got to sprint everywhere for it. But no, it is because they're fearless, aren't they?
Yeah.
You're not born with fear, are you? You create fear yourself, or people give you fear. But no, this the young lads are doing great, and so are the senior ones, helping them through it. So.
How are you finding the hybrid training? Part-time, full-time.
Yeah.
It's obviously a step up in terms of hours and time with the players than you had at Truro.
Yep.
Is it ticking enough of the boxes for you in terms of?
Yeah, I feel like we're getting more than enough time on the training ground to do what we want to do. So we're Monday and Friday mornings, and we're Tuesday and Thursday evenings. It's not a problem. When we train on Thursday, by the time you get home and go to bed, you wake up, it feels like you're back on the training ground very, very quickly. So it's the balancing act of how hard you work on a Thursday and how hard you work on a Friday. So it's not an issue. It's just something that we've got to get used to. But I mean, people say it's hybrid. I think if you train 4 times a week, you're full time really. So yeah, I would say I would, it's just a word, isn't it? Hybrid. I mean, full time really. I mean, it's great. I'm loving it, because at Truro I sat twiddling your thumbs for a lot of the time, But training, it's been great. It's we get good hours, good time to work on stuff, and then it's just managing that workload and all those sorts of things. But the only half issue, Dave, has been that Thursday night into a Friday morning. If you train hard on Thursday night, it's 12 hours and you're back training again. So you just got to be careful of that.
When you travel on a Friday, obviously that sort of doesn't take care of it.
I mean, yeah, we're travelling. We're going tomorrow to Welling. We're fortunate enough to be able to do that, and the owners have been very supportive of that, which is great. So yeah, we'll train tonight, and then tomorrow it's just a case going through a few set pieces and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Very low tempo, really.
The fact that I think this will be your 3rd overnight trip in the first, whatever it is, 6 weeks,
yeah.
5-6 weeks of the season. You've already said that's been really valuable.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not just from a training and fitness point of view. You're getting to know the players better. They're getting to know. I don't know whether there's been a few room changes already. That sort of stuff.
There's been a few people requesting not to room with James Heyman. But no, it's. Do you know what? It's
quite important at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think obviously I played for Plymouth Argyle for years and years and years. And lots of teams used to, say, I don't know how you do the travelling, I don't know how you... But you have some great times on the bus when you're together, when you're all getting on. Lads have a game of cards and get coffees in or whatever, and they have a yap. Some of them sit and watch Netflix all the time, the antisocial ones, and some... you do get to know different people's characters, definitely, But I think the more time you spend together, it can only be a positive for me, I think.
Good. Great. Paul, it's Clive from Torquay Talk. Thanks very much for letting us in.
No problem.
Can I take you back to Tuesday night? You were talking about standards and you've talked about shouting at players, and I don't know if you remember, but when Torquay allowed Chippenham a rare shot on goal, you went spare at them. And it was really entertaining sitting behind it in Bristow's. Tell us about that thought process at the time.
It was not a premeditated thing. It's you can see that I get quite emotional, quite passionate during the game. I just thought we let our standards drop for however long it was, and it's I can't sit here and go and preach standards all the time. I mean, I've got standards. I don't always reach my standards. You can't always. I just felt like they needed to be reminded of our standards and how important clean sheets are, because it becomes habitual, and it's. I talk sometimes in pre-match game talks and stuff about the easy option. The easy option would have been for us on Tuesday, to have let Chippenham score, for us to switch off and it become 3-1 or 3-2, and at the end go, that's all right, we still got the 3 points. It's too easy to do that. Football's not easy. Taking the easy option isn't going to get you anywhere. So I do remember it. I apologise if anyone took offence to the language, but it's it's just reminding the lads, and then then for that short period of shouting at them and letting them know, it goes back to that man management thing. Well, the next thing they do, I'm like the first one to say well done to the boys. I love my boys, so if I can't shout at them, then no one can.
I mean, we could see that as they were coming off. It was a proper arm around the shoulder for all of them, wasn't it?
I just think it's important. I mean, again, it's not premeditated. It's no matter how they've played, they're working really, really hard for the football club and for me. So you know, if they haven't played well, I'm not going to, as they're coming off, I'm always going to say well done. You know, they're committed, they're working hard. So, you know, and lots of players don't like coming off. But as we've spoke about in previous weeks, it's more and more common now, especially the squad we've got and the 5 subs which we're benefiting from at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a thank you for their commitment, really. That's all it is.